Hey friends, Bill here. How you doing? Hope you're having a good start to the day. Excuse me. Hey, we're going to talk about Sports Fan 1000. It's been a while. We're going to push on this a little bit, Lord willing, and see what can happen. The NBA and the NHL playoffs are beginning, and we want to talk about that a little bit. So let's get into that. NHL playoffs. They actually start with 16 teams in the playoffs. Uh, and their first game is against the 20th. And we're going to go through who is in the top spots right now. If we can get the page to load. Oh, there we go. Let's see. All right, there's already some teams. I'm going to mention the teams. If you live near the area, what I'd love for you to do is to contact me. Let's stay in touch and see if you'd be willing to preach at the home games of these teams, pretty much as long as they are in the playoffs. So in the Eastern Conference, just for the sake of breaking up the names of the teams, the Bruins, which of course play in Boston, the Florida Panthers, they play in Miami, the Toronto Maple Leafs, they're in the playoffs, the New York Rangers and the Carolina Hurricanes. The Hurricanes play in Raleigh, North Carolina, and then the New York Islanders. Those are in New York City area. Then we've got, looks like Tampa Bay Lightning and Tampa are in it, and I think the Washington Capitals at the moment, which would be Washington, D.C., that they are in it. So Washington, D.C., Tampa, New York Islanders, New York Rangers, those are both in New York City. Carolina Hurricanes, that's in Raleigh. Toronto Maple Leafs and Toronto, Florida Panthers in Miami. And then the Boston Bruins there look like they're headed for the playoffs. And then in the other conference, we've got the Dallas Stars, which is, of course, in Dallas, Colorado Avalanche in Denver. Winnipeg Jets, that's Canada. Winnipeg, Canada. Vancouver Canucks, that's in Canada. Edmonton Oilers, that's in Canada. Los Angeles Kings, of course, Los Angeles. The Nashville Predators and the Vegas Golden Knights. Las Vegas Golden Knights. They look like those are the 8 teams. Nashville is in the playoffs. Edmonton, Vancouver in the playoffs. Winnipeg, Colorado, Denver, and Dallas. So those are teams that are out there right now. If you live in those areas, I'm going to, Lord willing, do this frequently and see if we can't get out there and preach the gospel there at these events. And then NBA's right now, it looks like they're two, I believe they take 8 teams each. And so in the NBA, in the Eastern Conference, you've got the Boston team, the Celtics, Milwaukee Bucks, the New York Knicks, that's in Madison Square Garden, Orlando Magic, Cleveland Indians, Indiana Pacers, Philadelphia 76ers, and Miami Heat are the next 2 teams. So they'll be the top. The 2 after that are not in the playoffs at the moment would be the Chicago Bulls and the Atlanta Hawks. And if we go to Western Conference, the Minnesota, that's in Minneapolis. They're in it. The Timberwolves, Denver Nuggets, Oklahoma City Thunder, where Brady preaches, LA Clippers, that's in Los Angeles, Dallas Mavericks, New Orleans Pelicans, Phoenix Suns, where Diego preaches, and the Sacramento Kings. Looks like the Lakers are a possibility, and the Golden State, that's Sacramento Warriors, possibility as well. So that's the teams right now that are potentially in the playoffs. I'm going to we'll get this information out and sort of start promoting this a little bit more here online that you can preach at it. I also want to talk about Major League Baseball. It's started. So we want to invite you, ask you, encourage you, and so for those words, if you have a Major League Baseball team in your area, to partake of the MLB SFOI 1000 program and preach the games. The link to the program is on this post. And here's what we're trying to do. If you're out there preaching, let's say you're preaching in Minneapolis, someone lives in Denver, and they get inspired by your presence. Maybe they'll go preach at the Colorado Rockies games, or someone in San Diego will preach at those games. I know Dave preaches at the Cincinnati Reds games. So what I'm going to do here is go over the names of the teams, the guys who are playing today, start giving you an idea of who plays where if you don't really follow sports. And so we've got today, I'll reel off the teams that are playing today, and that'll give you an idea of where teams are located, see if you're in the area. So you got the LA Dodgers at Minnesota today. So LA's in Los Angeles, and Minnesota plays there in Minneapolis. Then you got the Philadelphia Phillies, of course, Philadelphia. The St. Louis Cardinals, Seattle plays at Toronto. Those are good stadiums. I've been to both stadiums, Seattle and Toronto. Then you've got the Arizona Diamondbacks, that's in Phoenix. At the Colorado Rockies, that's in Denver. At the Washington, I'm not sure what they're called these days, that's in D.C. At San Francisco. Tampa Bay's at Los Angeles Angels. They're, of course, in Los Angeles. You've got the Chicago White Sox at Cleveland Indians. You've got Chicago Cubs. The White Sox and the Cubs playing two stadiums. The Cubs are at San Diego today. Milwaukee Brewers, of course, in Milwaukee at Cincinnati. Miami Marlins at the New York Yankees. That's in the Bronx. Baltimore Orioles at the Boston Red Sox. New York Mets, they're out by Shea Stadium, or they're out, I guess it's called something now, but out by the old Shea Stadium out there by the airport at Atlanta. And you've got the Houston Astros and the Kansas City Royals, and then Oakland A's playing at Texas. Oakland is still playing there, and they're playing at the Texas Ranger game. So that's where they're playing. If you click on the link to the Sports Fan 1000 MLB program, you'll come to a link that has all the teams listed as well. Please let me know. I found one of the most exciting things that I've ever done in preaching is preaching at games consistently. For a long time in the early 2000s, my buddy Chap and I, we went down to almost all the Braves games, and they were drawing huge crowds, and we had a good time down there. It's a great way to reach a lot of people. And then the Falcons games, the Hawks, when I was in Atlanta, they didn't draw that well, maybe about 5,000, but we went there frequently. And what I found out in the big cities like Atlanta, when the people who are from other cities, who were from other cities and living in Atlanta, and they came to Atlanta, they would come to watch their team play Atlanta. So we would see people coming from Chicago and New York, St. Louis, especially for like the Braves when they were hot, and it worked some with the Hawks too. So anyway, what I'm saying here is you reach people consistently, and then certain teams from other locations, they'll bring in fans from that location, and you'll reach new people as well. So I find this to be very helpful in reaching people. Let me see if we can go through the MLS schedule. They have started their conference as well. I'm going to read off where the teams are playing the city. I'm not as familiar with MLS, but we're going to read where the cities are playing. And in that city will be the stadium. I'll learn, Lord willing, where the stadiums are, or the names of the stadiums in these respective cities. All right, they got teams in New York, Philadelphia, Miami, Columbus, Ohio, Cincinnati, Atlanta, Toronto, Washington, D.C., Charlotte, Chicago, Montreal, Nashville, New York City, Orlando, and New England. Let's look for a second and see what it says about the New York team. Is the New York Red Bulls. I think they play in New Jersey or something. There is a different stadium where they play, and I'm not sure. We'll figure that out. And then the other teams, the Western Conference, Vancouver, that's Canada, Los Angeles, Salt Lake City. Hey, I didn't know that. I have to tell Joe Henson. Minnesota, I'm sure they're probably in Minneapolis or St. Paul. Let me see where they're playing. We'll get back to that. We will do a better job next time. Los Angeles has another team there. Houston, Kansas City, Austin, Texas, Colorado, which would be Denver, Portland, St. Louis, Seattle, Dallas, and San Jose. So those are the teams. It looks like they have just gotten started playing. Let's see, they're one loss. They've played about 4 or 5 games. Plenty of time left. They play really through October. So again, we have a Sports Fan 1000 schedule here for the MLS as well. I'm gonna have to check into one of some of these games. I think the Atlanta team plays in the Mercedes-Benz, and Nashville has a smaller stadium where they play. They don't play in the big football stadium, so we'll check that out. Check these games out, and let's preach at them. Let's join together in saturating the sports world with the gospel and see how that works. If you have any questions, please, as always, give me a call. And please be on the lookout for games for the NBA, NHL playoffs. We're trying to get more in tune with the regular season and not just hit the big events like the Final Four, try to pay a little bit more attention to March Madness. So now we're trying to catch the playoffs here. We've caught the last, I think, the World Series the year before last. And so we're trying to catch more of these championship runs if someone's in the area, and also catch the teams during the season. Such great opportunities. The weather's typically warm. It's easy to get out. These ballparks are typically in very public places, so it's a great opportunity. Anyway, let me know, 423-724, 7500, 423-724, 7500, and let's chat about it soon. Bye-bye.